Live. Hey! And you're going to click on request to join. Hi, guys.
Okay, I see you.
All right. I'm going to get you any minute now.
I'm not hearing anything.
You don't hear anything.
Alexa,
Yeah.
I see you, but
Well, here we are. I don't see you. Hold on. Let me write McMillen. Oh, it says McMillen declined. It said McMillen declined. Guys, we're going to figure this out. Or not. No, we need to connect you to me, which means you either have to press a request. Well, because I'm not speaking. Okay. Guys, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do this. Somebody fiddled with Anne's, hey, William, with Anne's Instagram. And she's also far too elegant to live on Instagram the way I do. So this is foreign territory. What can I tell you while I wait for her to call and or appear is, oh, you know what happened today? A beloved client passed away. So oh, she hears me now. Good. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to Anne because I need the cheering up. No, Arabelle, we're going to. Yes, and I pressed requesting for you to join, and you're supposed to look at it now and accept my invitation. Okay, bye. So anyway, yes, Arabelle, actually, we might have to reschedule, but I needed this, guys. I need you today. I need to be cheered up because I'm sad. And as I mentioned before, I'm really behind on my Christmas shopping too. It's just a day where I need friends. What can I tell you that's interesting? Oh, well, I can't tell you. Ah, there you are. There you are. I'm so excited. Anne, can you hear me? Anne, I can see you, but I can't hear you. Anne, talk. Talk to me. Dude. Oh, for a few years. I mean, a good. Oh, are you muted, Anne? Somebody says you need to. Yes, it says a dramatic comedy. Have you muted yourself, Anne? Is your volume up? I, I think we're gonna have to do this later, guys. Maybe. I don't know. Well, you're on. I see you. You're still here. You're still on. Yes, I don't hear you either. Show her where on the screen. See, you're far too elegant to know how to do this. This is the problem. Okay, now you're gone. McMillen left. McMillen left. We're going to go one more time. I feel like I'm torturing you and everybody. No. I'm trying to, yes. I think people are finding a measure of amusement in our incompetence. I love it. Okay. No, I'm sending the request. Yes, Alexa loves to torture. Yeah. By the way, design in my view, there you are. Well, I can talk, but I don't hear you. Is your volume up? Are you muted? This is a series. This is a series of unfortunate events. Well, you're hearing, yes. Well, I don't know. Anne does not know what is wrong with her volume. Anybody have any ideas? No. I'm waiting for our smart friends to. Somebody is suggesting we get a lip reader. Yeah, you can be like, they can hit. No, no. All right, guys. Yeah, audio settings. I don't know how to change her audio settings. And do you have anyone there? You don't happen to have a 10-year-old nearby, do you? Oh, there. Do you see a microphone icon in the lower left? Somebody says. Is your, oh, William Lee has a very good suggestion. Do you have something connected to your Bluetooth? Disconnect Bluetooth. Oh, William, if you get this, you win a prize. I don't know what. Okay. I don't know. Hold on. You're circling. You're circling. Talk. Keep talking. William saying, oh no. Oh, and you left. Yeah, I'll give you one more try. One more try, and then we will have exercised the patience of everybody here. Okay. Oh, I'm so dying to talk to you. I have so many interesting, no, well, the questions might be not be interesting, but I'm interested in your answers. Don't you worry yet. Okay, search. Yep. Yeah, William Lee is fascinated by our, dare I say, incompetence. This is like a new kind of theater for Instagram Live. Two middle-aged women struggling to connect. Okay, I am. Here we go. And this is our last try. You're trying to go live. So there you are again. Is your Bluetooth off? Talk. No. All right. And I don't think it's good for me to ask you the questions and then relay them to your many fans who want to hear you. So I think, yeah. Oh, well, some people are saying put you on speaker. Okay. Well, hold on. Let's try this. Okay. Let's see if this works.
All right.
Can you guys hear her?
Well, okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can everybody else hear her? Somebody give me a sign of life. Can you hear her?
I'm going to put myself on speaker.
So to all of, I mean, by the way, that was quite exciting. Kel excitement.
Excuse me. Do you have time now for me to go get a straight vodka and gin and everything else?
I sure.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you left. You left. Well, what you got? This is so silly.
Send me again quickly.
Okay.
Let's
So
send me
anyway,
again.
what I found so fascinating that you mentioned in a comment is that you said when you were an intern at McMillen, you were at the desk with my father in 1970.
Yes, I was. It was like two desks pushed together. He was on one side, and I was on the other. I was 19. What was he, 28 or something?
He was 30 in 1970.
30. And you know, he obviously didn't want to be sitting across from me because
I find that highly unlikely.
Well, the first lesson he told me was after the weekend you have to eat cottage cheese and club soda to recover.
Seriously?
Yes.
I never knew that. Why didn't he tell me that?
I don't know. He told me
what
that.
a repulsive hangover cure.
You know. And then, well, maybe he didn't have a hangover. Maybe he ate too much.
Okay, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yes.
But I think I was the one with the hangover. So, at any rate, Alexis, second, I said, well, Mark, I would like to learn about decorating. Do you have any books I could read? And
that's the wrong person to ask that question to, because I'm sure he gave you 100 books.
No, I'm going to tell you what he gave me. But I also asked this older person at McMillen, Marion Morgan, who was 80. And so I had the two of them. And Mrs. Morgan said, you have to read.
Wait, now we're looking at your torso and it's getting weird.
Okay, wait. I'm trying to give you a better view. Okay? So he told, is that better?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So he told me, read The Glass of Fashion by Cecil Beaton. So I went up and bought it. And of course I had to buy a vintage copy. It probably cost 2 times more than my weekly salary. Sure. And Mrs. Morgan told me to buy Percy McCoy, The History of English Furniture, which luckily had been reproduced in paperback. So I got home, I looked at these two books, and I thought, these have nothing to do with decorating. Nothing.
That is so fascinating.
It wasn't until years later I read The Glass of Fashion, and I actually understood why Mark liked it, because it was about style. It was about this incredible ability of certain people to just conduct themselves with style. And I realized, of course, that's what decorating's about. And,
I have not read that book, so I'm immediately going to go find it and pay even more than
you
did.
You should. And Mrs. Morgan, of course, was telling me you can't decorate unless you understand period furniture. So sure. I had two completely opposite things, when all I wanted at 19 was to be told the fabrics are supposed to match.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
you wanted something a little less abstract. But from everything I read about you in your answers to the questionnaire and what I know about you, is that you are a total intellectual. I mean, it's not, I think I don't believe a word of it when you say, oh, I just wanted to hear that the curtains match. Like, I know you too well to believe it.
No, but I promise you that's what I wanted, and I could not grasp what these books meant. I thought both people, Mark and Mrs. Morgan, were nuts. But lately, like 20 years ago lately, when I first started actually working at McMillen after the summer internship, I had the longest
That was quite a break you took.
I stopped my summer job in 1970 and I started again at McMillen in 2010. Yeah. So that's the longest gap in a paycheck that's ever existed at a single company. But then I interviewed Mrs. Smith, who was there with Mark, and she told me, Anne, it's what you learn before you become a decorator that makes you the kind of decorator you are. So maybe addressing your point, I taught school and I wrote short stories, and I think that really has informed.
Well, and you became a collector. So in something that you said, whether on your website or in the questionnaire, you said that you realized that you could lend a certain intelligence to your clients because you had become a collector and you could share your experiences with them, which is not at all how I think about things, but it's like so brilliant. Of course, that is such a sincere and real advantage that you do give your clients, where, when I think about it, that just seemed like a really great answer. And it makes me want to think that way now with my clients, even though, I'm 100 years old and, I shouldn't be.
Alexa, you're 100 years younger than I am.
Well, we're both in our hundreds then.
Okay. our
But
hundreds. But
I just thought like that's such a, you know, there's a sometimes a weird energy between client and decorator where maybe they think you're trying to sell them stuff. And you know, if you come to them and say, you know, I'm a collector and I live this certain way and I'm going to share with you my experiences, not just as a professional, but as the end user, or, you know, as a person of style who loves, you know, environments, that's such a beautiful expression of the approach.
well, I think it does make them trust me that
Totally.
I put my money where my mouth is, you know, and if I recommend something to them, I'm serious that I come at it with I don't like junk. But the interesting thing about collecting, I collected one period for no good reason, by the way.
Well, you said it, you appreciated the intellectualism of the aesthetic, the British aesthetic period.
Yeah, but what I learned mostly, it could be any period, but as corny as a set piece, you know, a period room is, it really teaches you about proportion, about what the period was about, and you can, you know, what fits, what lines, what colors, and you can then translate it to any other period. You know, it doesn't matter what it is, and it gives you such a groundwork for how, if you understand how people lived in that period and why their furniture and their room placements and their colors came about, you kind of have a way of understanding any period and of being able to be eclectic, because you can see that the lines and shapes and colors are what is so important. And then you can substitute different pieces in to that formula.
Right.
I think you only get it from understanding that any period of design has its own rules and formulas.
So you answered the question now. What book would you tell somebody to read? Because clearly you're a researcher from the time you're 19. Pardon me, my lips are so chapped.
Well, one reason I was unorganized, I had to go to the drugstore and buy makeup.
You should have called me. I've got vats of it.
I didn't succeed, by the way. So, can you say the question again?
So, what would be your response to your 19-year-old self's question? So here you've figured out the Rosetta Stone of how to make rooms work by looking at past rooms. What's the book that would help?
Okay, well,
think about it. Think about it, and we'll come back to it, because I sprung it on you.
Well, you know, a great book I love is Renzo Mangiardano's Roomscapes.
Yeah.
Because he addresses all these kind of things, and he looks at rooms very intellectually, you know, a long room, a short room, and he makes you approach it in this way, the effect of lines and shapes. But I'm looking through my books now while you ask me another question.
Okay. So what brought you back into the fold, prodigal child? What made you come back to McMillen?
I dare show you the glass of fashion? Do you see it there?
I do.
That's the book I bought from Mark.
I love that. But how did you come back to design?
I hit 50 years old, and it was also the year of 9/11. August and September, my birthday, August. And I just thought, my God, what am I going to regret when I die? What, you know, my writing is sort of, well, I don't want to admit it fizzled out, but it looked like it fizzled out to everyone.
Or you needed a break.
No, I didn't need a break. I just thought
a permanent break.
A permanent break.
You needed it to be broken.
I always wanted to work at McMillen, and I just didn't have the nerve.
Was it because your mother was such a force there that you didn't have the nerve?
Well, people might say that, but for me, and it is related to my mother, I hate getting business. I hate selling. I'm so afraid of being turned down. I want a job handed to me. And then
well, don't we all? Sign me up for that.
Yeah, but my mother liked getting business. You put her in a cocktail party, and she became energized.
Yeah.
You put me in the party, and if someone tells me, oh, yeah, there's a rich person over there that just
I mean, that's disgusting.
I want to run out the door.
No, but that's embarrassing. I agree with you. Like, that's just, I'm not going to
run over there or thought how to get there. I hate it. But I love decorating, so I thought, that's not a good reason, Anne.
Yeah.
that you're afraid. You just have to do this because you want to, and because I believed in McMillen, and I guess I saw a gap at that time between generations.
And was your mother still alive then?
Oh yes, and she was shocked because she thought I was never going to do this.
Yeah.
And my father was shocked too.
Somebody's asking you later to post a photo of the books you would suggest to a young designer.
I will.
Yeah. And if you can't figure it out, you will make a 10-year-old do it for you.
Okay, but I can figure out one that I like. It was called, well, I'll think of it in a minute, but actually, I'm going to look at it. It was a compendium. I like these group books. I think they're extremely interesting, where there's a bunch of chapters. Designers on Designers, I think, is a very fun book to read.
Is that what vintage?
It's Introduction by Albert Hadley. I would say it's 2004.
Okay, great.
Here it is.
Great, thank you.
And it's right next to your father's book, Legendary Decorators of the 20th Century. So,
I love that book.
I think that's a good book because it gives you a decorator talking about another decorator who influenced them. So you kind of get a two.
I want to start up a thing at NYSID where we all do legendary decorators and we speak about one, we get one designer to come in and talk about another one, just like you said. And that would be a fun series. And I think for young students or new to the profession, the kind of the glass of fashion, the mystery of why that's important, the mystery of some of these other designers that they might not know about, but that you and I, were, probably could name when we were 10, they would benefit from knowing about because they benefit from their work, whether they know it or not.
It's just very interesting how other designers are influenced. But can I tell you some other things your father taught me?
Sure.
Later, when he wasn't working at McMillen, he came into our house and he looked around and he said, I wasn't decorating, but obviously I had done this. And he said, obviously you know, which is so cute because obviously I didn't know, and he knew I didn't know, but he was being so tactful. Obviously you know, it was green and white. That a monochromatic dining room is great because you can have any kind of plates you want. You can keep switching them, and you never look at your Paris and say, oh, it doesn't go with mine. So that was something. He was such a scholar, and his personal style, that's what the glass of fashion is about. Your father, I think all great decorators have a certain style that is more important than the little lessons.
Sure. And
I think that's why he liked that book, because the women in it had so much style in clothes.
Yeah. But yes, he did. He I think, like you, loved a bit of research. He loved. I said this once to Peggy Russell, and I said it backwards and wrong, and then I've ever after been so frustrated that I said it wrong when I was talking to her. That I think you can look at my father's rooms and see footnotes and lingering above elements, which I love. I love that there's reference and history and
but he delivered this stuff so pleasurably. I'm a pet. When I think of your father, how he just breezed around and just dropped pearls of learning in a way that was so conversational and charming.
Maybe he dropped them with you. He kind of clobbered us with them. But what about your mother? Tell me, what was it like going to work for whatever it was for her? Yeah, she was the president, was she not?
She was the president, but she had largely sort of stepped back.
Which is, not a bad thing, right? It's difficult.
No, I don't think when she was 60, I don't think I could have engaged. I'll tell you one funny story. She wanted to see a client's job that I had done, and the client wanted her to see. And so I got her organized, and, the driver took us, and we went up, and she looked all around in front of the owner and husband and didn't say one goddamn word. And then we get in the kitchen, and she says, "I love your refrigerator." I mean, it was a Sub-Zero.
Was she just needling you? What's that about?
I don't know. I was so mortified, so upset, because the clients, the famous Betty
Yeah.
Cheryl. And then when I got back to
I
the
hope
office,
you're like, oh, she's lost it.
no, but Alexa, when I got back to the office 15 minutes later to wring her neck, everyone in the office said, "Your mother said you did the most fabulous job with the Sullivans." I mean, they know this joke,
Yeah.
so I don't mind using their name. And I can't. I mean, she just was.
There's serious. Like Freud would enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, at McMillen, she wanted to put them down by saying I was great, and I actually think she didn't know what to say. If you want to know the truth, she was 80 plus, and I don't think she expected it to look like that. And I think she was sort of didn't know if she liked it, and then she processed it a little more and thought, "Oh, okay." And
Well, I think there must be some anxiety associated with it's like the changing of the guard. It's Greek. It's very Greek mythology.
Well, also, I think you're anxious about how your child and how your mother's doing. I panicked that my mother didn't do the right thing, and I'm sure Elizabeth panics that I mean, this episode.
Of course.
Her latest word to me was fine. Figure it out. Fine.
So is it fun being in the office with her?
What?
Yeah, somebody's writing she couldn't find fault, so she was lost for words, which is what she was.
Well, I forgave her, but I mean, it was.
Yeah.
If she'd been any younger, it would have been really hard.
Well, then you'd have to kill her. It would be matricide. It would have been a bummer, but she was older. So what did you just say? I just read you I was going to ask you about working with your daughter.
Well, first of all, she doesn't work for me. That would not work.
Right. I'm sorry. But I mean, you're president. That's why
But even so, I feel that she's very worried about me, and she can get kind of a little critical because she's worried,
Why is she worried about you? Just because you're her mommy and,
Yeah, and like this, like goofing up this.
Everybody, unless you're 10, forget it.
Okay, well, Alexa, if you have a chance, at some point in time, you ask her how she felt about the beginning of this show and me.
I will.
She'll tell you the truth. But I mean, I think she's proud of me, and I'm proud of her. And we don't. Our actual professional part is very, very smooth.
That's wonderful.
The actual talking about jobs and ideas and so on. That is.
Do you and she share a design taste?
I think so, because I think her jobs so far have been more unified in type than mine have. So some of my jobs I share I wouldn't say taste, but I would say the look.
Sure. Okay. I do love your range. That just in the slides that we showed for 52, there's such mastery of different styles. But as you said about when you were talking about period rooms, they're very different. You're not doing a period room in every one. One is very traditional, one is very modern, but they're each.
I've never done a period room for anyone.
No, but I mean, just the first slide is very traditional. And others, I mean, even the room you're in has very modern sensibility, but you do them all so seamlessly.
Well, Alexa, I appreciate the compliment, but I think one of the reasons I have a range of look, if you will, is because when you start at 50, you don't have a look. I mean, Mario started young. You started sort of young. You develop something, and then people know you for it, and they come to you for it, so they want you to do it.
Right.
I got just people who either were friends and giving me a break, or McMillen clients. So they didn't come to me for a look. So my first 10 years was doing other people's look.
Sure, and to an extent, I mean, our clients are some of the other people whose look we have to capture.
Yeah. Yes, to an extent, but I had no look myself, so nobody came to me for one thing.
Yeah, which is kind of great.
But if they did, I would have developed that probably more than I have.
Yeah.
That one look.
What do you? I've got one of those too. He's going to hear your dogs and he's going to start barking. What do you love most about the job?
I like doing the decorating. And I like the people that are at McMillen now. I just love going to the office, and I mean, my life would be lonely without them.
Yeah.
I really like.
They're our family.
Yeah, but I also like the tradespeople I work with. I like all the jokes we develop. I like, I think Katya Geckler wrote a cute thing I saw that basically she liked talking to me, and I like going in there and yakking with her.
Yeah.
And I like the people. I like learning from them. That's my kind of world.
Yeah.
And so the two things, I like creating the room, and I like being with people.
What do you dislike? Besides just selling?
I always did the business, the getting business. I fret. I'm bad at it. If someone turns me down, I hide for another year. I hate it.
Yeah, everybody hates that.
Well,
I mean, everybody hates it.
Don't.
Nobody likes rejection. I defy you to find somebody who enjoys it, and that if you do find someone, they're crazy masochists.
Don't want to know them.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
Don't want to know them.
No, I find myself sometimes in a meeting with a potential client, and even though you can see that maybe you shouldn't take this job, or maybe you don't like where they're going, something takes over where you're just so desperate to be chosen. It's weird and pathological.
I've never turned a job down. I can see the writing on the wall.
I think it's very difficult, just from a financial point of view, to turn things down. It feels scary, like you're going to jinx yourself and you'll never get another job again.
I've never done it, but the people I should have done it for, it didn't work out.
Yes, of course.
But I can't bring myself not to try to get the job.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same way. How is it in a firm like yours where you not only have to get a job, but each of the people in the firm has to get a certain number of jobs all the time? Is there just mass anxiety? Is everyone drinking?
Yeah, drinking. I think that there's an ebb and flow. I mean, it's just funny. One year I have more business. The next year Elizabeth Pyne has more business. The next year Lynn Stair has. There is a nice ebb and flow to it.
How do you deal with the ebbs?
Well,
for the person who's not working a lot, do they help you, or do they help the person who's okay? So you that's wonderful. So you all like come in behind the person who's busy. Okay.
For instance, Lewis, who's he's a brilliant space designer. He's been at McMillen since 1970. And by the way, he told me of all the decorators he ever met, your father had all the separate ingredients that make a good decorator.
Yeah, thank you. Give that Lewis man a kiss.
I will. Well, he's around. He might kiss you, but I don't think so. That's not his style. But I lost my train of thought.
So you were telling me about.
He gave us a big job.
Yeah.
One to his client, his favorite client who has, $1 billion, and he really didn't want to give it to me. He was sure I was going to mess it up, but he didn't want to do it, and so he gave it to me. And then he also gave Lynn and me another job, and Lynn Stair, and she was able to do it because it was a year where she didn't have enough personal business. Yeah. So she had to take on a firm job.
So I think that's a beautiful business plan.
Well, it is, because everyone feels necessary. Totally.
And I'm sure it stretches you creatively to be pulled into jobs that maybe aren't in your normal wheelhouse, and it exercises those muscles.
Yeah. And with younger people that we hire to be assistants. I know they're supposed to be called project managers, but I say assistants. I make them move around. In the old days, each decorator who brought in business, to me, the decorator is the person who brings in the business, whether they know what they're doing or not. They're And each decorator had an assistant, and that assistant did not travel over to another decorator.
Right.
But I changed that for two reasons. One, it meant two people were sitting idle if there wasn't enough business. And number two, I want these assistants to work with our 7 or 8 different decorators, because that's how they learn.
Yeah, and I mean, territoriality is not a good ingredient for groups.
But I mean, I look at a job one way, and Elizabeth Pyne looks at it differently, and Lois looks. I mean, it's so interesting for them to see different ways of handling clients, of different aesthetics, different decorating rules. I really want them to move around and see how 7 or 8 different experienced people negotiate designing a room.
Totally. That's very interesting. So somebody once said to me, why are you keeping the name Mark Hampton? I mean, lots of people have asked me that. And it's, as you can imagine, like a million reasons behind it. In the beginning, it was like, there was no certainty that it would even continue. Why would I stop, change the name, and then watch it fail?
Yes.
That's the
way I think.
Yeah. So first I was dancing as fast as I could. And then second, it was my greatest asset as an unknown to have the name of the firm after this wonderful talent.
I wouldn't have gotten a single job for 10 years.
Yeah, of course. And then finally, I mean, underneath all of this is the fact that, he's my daddy, and I would want him to be known and eternal. But there was part of me that also thought, well, if ever there's a day, and I now don't think this would work, that if there were ever a day when I wanted to sell the company and people could still work under it, like at McMillen, have a name for the firm that doesn't exist within the ranks. There is no Mark Hampton at this point. So that if we wanted to keep the firm going in perpetuity, we could. But,
I think that's sort of true for McMillen.
Well, I think McMillen is the gold standard of that. And I think a lot of firms wish they could do that. I'm not sure that any of us can. I think McMillen has figured it out, like Janssen, like some of these great old firms. But I'm not sure that anyone else has figured it out. But
Well, Alexa, I'm not sure it's as profitable for the designers who work there as it would be on their own.
Except there's, the deal flow thing that you mentioned is critical. I once told my daughter, I said, when she was like 6, you should be a decorator, you should be an architect, and then you can come work for me, and she said, oh, would I come work for you immediately? And I said, no, you'd have to go out on your own and then come in. And she said, but how would I get jobs? And I said, you just have to get them. And she burst into tears because she was like 6, but she immediately got the stress of what that is.
Yeah, well, your daughter and I.
But and I often think about that in financial firms, like how do you get deal flow? So I think it's really impressive what McMillen has done, and I hope it's been 100 years. How long has it been?
Well, we've got 4 years to go. That's my personal goal. I want to get to 100.
Absolutely, I hope it goes on for another 100.
Well, if I get to 100, I think Elizabeth and her other partners, they're going to have to get it to the next 100.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you do not want to be the only person staying throughout. Yeah.
But another thing about your father, when he got to McMillen, because he always unloaded on me when he was not happy.
Was he trying to get the message to your mother? Was he trying to mail it in?
No, in his later life, he was telling me something I knew very well, that she was not generous in giving him or anyone else that might have threatened her clients. That he told me she would keep her.
That's the way it goes.
Okay, that's the way it goes. But he told me was at McMillen when he and I were at the desk. He, in a discouraged moment, he said, I came here to learn, and there's no one here to learn from anymore. And I think they were the older people that were either getting a little dotty or they, had retired. And the younger people there are old people today. And it's so fascinating because they're the people I want these younger people to learn from. I
Absolutely.
see myself as a transition, but I'm so happy that they're there because they are teaching.
And the same, and it's, and it's not just the professionalism. It's about a different era. It's about, in a time when people didn't run around in yoga pants all the time, which I haven't done yoga in like 20 years, but boy, do I have a lot of yoga wear.
Well, the time aspect has changed so radically. The speed with which we do things and have to do things. I mean, 20 years, 30 years ago, everything was written out by hand.
I remember it well.
Process, and then it had so many levels. I mean, the speed was clients say, I have to have it tomorrow, and you're in a taxi, or before Corona, you're in a taxi, and you could just email, do this, do that, and you can't really process it in your head. You're saying yes so quickly before you have a chance to really think. Wait a minute.
For that reason, I sometimes think that, I love a plain decorating job, and it's just the architecture's done. That can be great fun. But to your point, those jobs where it's a 3-year job and you start before you've broken ground, those can be so interesting because you do have the time to.
You have the time to think, but also they're interesting because then it really is, if the architect listens to you, then it really is a complete, what's the phrase, Gestaltist work, an entire thing that you have seen how it should look and controlled all the aspects of it.
And you also become so familiar with the homeowner that I think a lot of us think we want some things, and maybe I'm getting a tour of your room, but mostly the ceiling.
I have to plug in the power.
Oh yeah, good point. Oh my gosh, I too. So anyway, I think a lot of us would say we want.
I have to switch positions because things were slipping around.
No, I hear you. I'm doing the same thing. Look, here we're continuing the plot point of women of a certain age not being able to get their shit together. Anyway, sorry. So what I was saying was that some of us, even we, sometimes might think we want something, and maybe we just really don't. And having that time to work with a homeowner makes you realize, they think they want that, but they don't want that. And I'm going to make sure that they don't get what they don't want.
Oh, well, and vice versa. I think, I know what they want. This will be perfect. And sometimes they say, and I think they saved me from a mistake. I mean, I think I think of it as a very organic process. And I mean, about the only thing I think you should do quickly is a showroom. I mean, there are so many elements that change and morph, and then you have to readjust, and you get an idea that you never could have gotten in the beginning.
So, show houses, that's a good point. What do you think about show houses?
Well, I enjoy them.
Good.
I really like them, and I like doing them, but I shouldn't do them because I always go off on a tangent, and I never get a job from it. I have to remember to make other people at McMillen do them instead of me.
I mean, I understand that at the end of the day, you do want to get jobs from them, but it is a wonderful moment in which to declare something.
Yeah, well, see, that's how I feel. I just get carried away with the freedom and the fact you can get it done quickly because vendors want to help you, and it's just fun. I love it. And I'm sad. The few I've done, I'm sad when I have to take them apart. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I usually buy half the stuff that I borrowed.
Oh, well, if only. I there's always some sort of $100,000 Russian piece of furniture in the show houses I do, so I couldn't buy them.
Let's put it this way, I buy the knickknacks.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Knickknacks are good. Though I worry about knickknacks walking off in show houses.
Oh,
I mean, people do that.
I know. Well, and I put a lot of my own things in sometimes, and I fret and I lie awake at night thinking, "Oh my God, what if someone takes it?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what are you excited about right now? What are you doing that's most thrilling? Well, for one, how is business during COVID? Are you like laying low? Are you doing a lot of Zoom meetings? I mean, I find it all very, stressful.
Not much Zoom. We're pretty still hands on.
Yeah.
With the clients, with the work site. But for the first 3 months, we did nothing because everything was shut.
Sure, of course. And
So,
boy, was that scary. This is Percy, by
that
the way.
was scary. I mean, with the Cloroxing and the this and the that.
Yeah.
Now, can I go get my dog?
Yeah, sure.
I
We
got
can
my
introduce them.
They will bark. So right now, it feels sort of like business as usual, but we had 3 months of nothing, so it's very hard to catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of work right now, and the orders aren't coming in yet because we lost all that time.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I totally know what you mean. My joke to my colleagues, we all stayed obviously employed. Not obviously. Nobody was furloughed. We all stayed on. And I said to them at the beginning.
We kept everybody too.
Yeah, not knowing, not even realizing what was happening. In the beginning,
Yeah,
exactly. I said to my colleagues, I was like, you know what? And this is something my husband says that I keep talking about because I love it. He said to me, and I said to them, there is no plan B. We land the plane or we crash the plane,
That's exactly.
Yeah, like if we go down together and we'll figure it out. But
that's how I feel. I felt and feel.
Because the camaraderie and the familiar relationships that you were referring to later, like they're real. These are our family members. These are our work family.
I think so, but it's maybe not the best. Well, Mrs. Brown, she never let people go.
Yeah.
And in the Depression, she just lowered everyone's salary.
Yeah.
Lower and lower.
She
and
made
lower.
that Depression a thing.
No, but I mean, I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
And if you have a team, they're willing to.
Yeah.
They know you want to. They know you care about them, and for that reason, they're willing to accept less and work harder for whatever. I found that very rewarding in our firm.
Yeah.
That everybody was really understanding.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, we all need to understand each other. We all have to support each other, whatever that means. It goes both ways.
Yeah, but I think furloughing people, and I mean, it's one thing if
yeah, I mean, if you have to, you have to. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's painful for the president of the company. It's a terrible. It must feel horrible.
Well, I think historically, so many people who worked at McMillen, it was their life.
Yeah.
And that's why I really love McMillen, because I've seen it give a life to people of talent, who weren't going to work on their own. They just didn't have whatever it takes to be on their own.
Yeah, the desire to be off on their own.
Some people don't want to be on their own. They want to decorate, and they want a camaraderie and a community to back them up and to share ideas with. And I've just seen people.
Why, Ms. Pyne, that sounds like you're describing somebody you know very well.
You mean
yourself? Yourself. You're like, some people just don't want to do that. They just want to decorate. What does your house look like? I mean, I can see this room, but what you described your style, which I love.
Okay, well, you want me to give you a tour?
Yeah, I'd love it. You said you would hope that intelligence and integrity.
I can't see what I'm showing you because here's Flip. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
See, that showed some mastery. Okay, look at that.
Room.
Beautiful.
And
when did you do that room?
About 5 years ago.
Yeah, because it feels very current.
Yeah.
No, I'm here.
I don't see my picture anymore.
Well, that's because you flipped the thing. Now I'm looking at a bookcase.
No, it's not that. It's somebody butted in to me.
Oh,
okay.
I had that too.
Okay, are we
Somebody
back?
called. Yep.
Okay, this is my photography lovers hall, my photography books, and they're hiding. This is a hallway behind these. Let me flip on the light. So I have a little photography collection here. But not nice. I mean, I'm a sort of photography collector. And up here again, the books are hiding.
Oh, fun.
Three doors. I can't get up on a ladder. And then here is Elizabeth's old bedroom, which I redid.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
This has, watercolors and drawings of family on this wall. And this wallpaper is from Pierre Frey. It's a disgusting feeling, kind of vinyl, but I just loved it with like the watercolor drips.
It feels very Albert Hadley era. Is it current or is it old?
It was current 2 years ago, but I haven't seen. Sorry, that painting doesn't belong in here. I'm getting ready for Christmas. I took it out of the dining room.
It was fun.
And I got this rugged start. It's kind of disgusting, printed. But
I think it's great. And you've got a blue and yellow thing happening in this room and in your library.
This is really, maybe it's the thing. It really looks more gray and yellow. But, so this is my decorative art library.
Oh, look, I'm so jealous.
The other one was decorator. And let me see. So up here, you see, this bookshelf used to be in my son's room, and that wallpaper border was on his bookshelf. And sentimentally, I couldn't rip it off.
Yeah.
So I kept the remnant.
So, what does your son do?
He works at Sandler O'Neill, and this is dark here.
Is that a law firm?
Yeah.
Or
he does
finance.
advising banks.
Yeah.
Here's our living room.
Oh my God! Look at that awesome chair on the right.
Oh yeah, these two chairs are Paul Evans. They are so comfortable, you just won't believe it.
Wow.
I sit in them every night, and then I plug the TV off center.
Yeah.
The fireplace has a nice, little
That's beautiful
mirror. But in my opinion, I integrated this TV with the still lifes and
like as a gallery wall. It's just one more.
People don't really even notice it.
Yeah, it's one more rectangle in the.
Yeah. And I got these old master paintings when my mother died. This is a particularly weird one. The saints, the disciples are coming out of the jaws of the devil with all these roses. And in my
just a happy little, little thing.
I like it because I have, a 17th century still life, at 18th and 19th. And here's our, I'm on low battery again. Here's our family gallery of portraits over the sofa. Mostly Aaron Schickler did these, who painted JFK. Yeah. So this is like a comfortable room with a lot of these light fixtures. Where are they? Our bronze windows. So I like mixing in. Yeah. Goofy things.
And you clearly love color, which is great. You like bold color.
I've done a lot of neutral things too. I'd show you my neutral bedroom, but these are a lot of OJ.
That's beautiful.
That I collected. I have a bunch of lean Votrap boxes.
And I love that bookcase. What is that? Macassar ebony?
This is an aesthetic period. That was my collecting period.
Sure.
It's really pretty wood and details.
It's very beautiful.
And and then here's my library, my literary library that is, a whole nother story.
You have just catapulted yourself into favorite personhood, that you have a whole design library room and then a whole literary library room.
Yeah, there's my photographs and my poetry collections and, things I'm still attempting to read. So I've got books all around in here.
Wonderful.
So
look at your cartonnier.
I know. I love it. Those are labels on the outside.
Gorgeous.
But so I got a lot of stuff. I really sort of
good. I mean, this is a lived life.
Well, yeah. That's why I told you hoarding and procrastinating are my two problems.
Actually, I was really reading about your procrastination actually made me feel really good, because I'm a big procrastinator, and I think of you as just totally capable. And I felt it made me happy to know that you have some human flaws.
Well, I have a lot of human flaws. The dining room looks kind of a mess now because we're getting ready with a tree, and I have, I just have furniture
Sure.
in here. I have
Oh, look at that. That is
but
gorgeous.
this is a lot of aesthetic period stuff. I wasn't planning to do this mess. Here's my you better that I think. Let me see. I'm going to show you monochromatic bedroom now, since you think I like color. I think probably the vacuum cleaner's on the floor. Oh.
Well, I mean, it's nice to have color in the living room, and then somewhere something soothing for your retreat.
But this doesn't really show, but these no wonder it doesn't show. I have my book I wrote glued around the room.
That is so fun.
Short stories. And then here, if you see these torn fragments, I have a memoir I wrote in the form of a board game and playing jacks and doing all these things. So I wasn't going to publish that thing.
Has this been published, this room?
It's in a picture, but I'm just, this part wasn't.
Because this is genius.
So, Alexa, I was never going to publish this memoir, so I ripped it into strips. And it, as I say, it was written like a board game. My mother lands here, my father lands here. Now we're playing jacks. And so I glued it around the room as if it were Monopoly. You go around the board game. Does that make sense?
Totally. It's so cool.
And then what's all the
and you know what? That's what decorating in quotation marks cannot achieve. This is so incredible. I mean, obviously it's personal, it's a memoir, but it's just like cracking your brain open.
Oh, well, and all these are 19th century pastoral etchings of the followers of William Blake. It's actually quite a good collection. You can't see with the glare, but they're all about morning and evening. And so what else for a bedroom, right?
And then the wallpaper is parchment that speaks to the book.
It's ripped up slabs of watercolor paper and sort of torn to, it's separately colored.
And you did this, you found these pieces and tore them.
Well, Arthur Fowler, I told him what I wanted to do, and he bought the watercolor paper, and he himself, colored it with me. And then he started doing it in blocks, and I said, Arthur, this isn't working out. It looks like marble. I don't like it. So then we ragged it so it has this sort of feeling of almost scars. And, this wall has no writing on it because I had a leak. So everything had to come off. So I have to go back and find that darn memoir and tear it up some more. This is
really, I want to see a photo of this room so I can see it all at a glance.
Over the bed, I have this wonderful Elizabeth Turk. Do you know who I mean?
No, it's gorgeous.
Herschel, and it's marble. And this was something I had in a showroom, and I couldn't resist buying it. Now I couldn't afford it. I just love the idea of marble as a floating like ribbon. A very heavy, earthy substance. She has made it into something, tested it.
Right, light and supple, and it looks like it is pages.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so messy right now. I wasn't expecting to do this, but
this is maybe the coolest thing I have seen in quite some time.
Now I'm going to treat you to my makeup foray that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what my kitchen. Well, you've got very fancy makeup. I'm a drugstore gal.
And so this is a kind of example of what I like to do is make these patterns. Sorry.
I love it. Yeah, like textures, layering texture.
Yeah, and the floor. I have fun doing this. Now, would a client, I don't know. Here's one of my little whistlers.
Wow.
In Venice, what's that bridge? The Rialto. I'm probably ruining it in the light. But
No, I could see it. Look at your beautiful view, too.
Why Whistler is my favorite artist.
Look how tight up. Wow.
What?
Nothing. I'm just so impressed by the foot of your bed and that nice little neat stack.
This is supposed to go. My housekeeper did this because I threw it on the floor. I was cold last night. I had to get all this out. But
And that feels like, you know what,
why
that room also has a very Carl Springer vibe.
Yeah, it's very quiet room. But you know why I picked Whistler? Because obviously I could have picked anyone who has a favorite artist. There's so many.
Yeah.
I just love the fact as a decorator that his client Lord Leighton asked him to fix up a room while he and his wife went to, I don't know where they went, Spain or Italy for the summer. And when they came back to England, Whistler had ripped out all this fancy leather that Lord Leighton had just put in and conceived of the Peacock Room, which is in the Smithsonian, and had a party for the press to celebrate the room. And Lord
in advance of their return?
Yes, and he had no idea Whistler had completely ripped his room apart and did something he wanted, which is the famous Peacock Room. Of course, he was fired and sued. But can you imagine as a decorator if you did that?
No. Do you look at that chair? That chair is amazing.
Yeah, it's earlier Benetti, when he worked with Augusti and Benetti. Here's a little.
And what is the rug? The rug is so cool.
Oh, the rug is from Federica Donata. I love her rugs.
It's so neat. It's like got a map look about it.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, I first noticed her in a magazine because.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wait, let me look at that pillow and that sofa. Oh, look at that. Eve Klein blue just kills me.
Yeah, I like this sofa.
It's gorgeous.
And I sort of like the shapes of this valance. It's the same as the sofa.
Yeah, that's a really, really gorgeous room.
You can't see it in the lights. And so then I thought I had a very okay kitchen. And when it was getting photographed for Elle Decor, I think it was Douglas Friedman said, "I love your kitchen. It's so retro." And I looked at it, I thought, I didn't think it was so retro. I thought
you have these big kitchen moments with your mother saying, "Oh, that fridge," and then Douglas saying it's so retro.
It's true, I haven't changed the kitchen for years. So here's the thing I like.
But you've really decorated the kitchen like a room. Look at that great light fixture. And that beautiful photograph. What is that photograph of a kitchen?
That's Matthew Pillsbury photograph, and it's I'm trying to back up. This is like a kitchen within a kitchen.
Yeah,
right?
I love that.
And this kitchen, and I'll give you the light.
It's genius.
So what he did, Matthew Pillsbury, the room was dark. He had no flash, no light. The only light is like the cooktop there. The light of the cooktop, the light you get when you open the refrigerator. They must have had some kind of Christmas lights up here. The TV light.
Yeah.
And the photograph took an hour because
he just had to keep the exposure going.
Time exposure. So you see the husband, it basically sat still and is a little blurred. But the wife disappears because she was moving so much, cooking and moving.
Oh, well, there's a metaphor.
Yeah, there's a metaphor. So I think it's a brilliant
photograph. I also like how your black and white light fixture looks like it's a light fixture in the photograph.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see the floor is the same floor.
Yeah, I totally saw that.
Actually, Elizabeth owns this photograph, but she made this valiant, brave purchase of it. And I said, Elizabeth, you don't have room for this in your apartment. I have to have it, and I'll give it to you if you want it. Well, she's never going to see it again. Anyway, it's a very messy apartment. Here's my baby.
Oh, look at your baby. I don't think that's a messy apartment. I think that's a totally fascinating. What's that little guy?
Really, see, I have a normal fabric under this, which I would have ordered.
I also loved your saying you hate chenille. I went through a rather vicious chenille phase very, very early on, and then woke up to the insanity of it.
Well, I don't know why I don't like it.
No, I don't like it. And you know what else I hate? Mohair.
Oh, no, I love mohair.
I hate mohair. I find it prickly. I kind
of like it.
You can't wear shorts.
There's mohair and there's mohair,
I guess.
Okay, well, I'll go back to where I was before. In the other room, because I've only showed you a mess. I'm so embarrassed.
Please. No, you're not. It's gorgeous and it's interesting. And your bedroom is one of the most inspiring things I have ever seen.
Well, thank you, Alexa, but obviously it's not something you do for a client.
No, and it's sort of a pity. It's like what you're saying about show houses is, you know, you can have big ideas and they're too personal and too special. You can't,
You can't, yeah,
you can't offer them up because they'd be silly for anybody who wasn't the author of the idea.
But, you know, that's exactly right. They'd be silly. But it is fun if a client, some clients you can get a little further, don't
Sure.
you think?
Oh, yeah.
Towards really them.
Yeah, but I am leery of pushing clients too much for the reason you said earlier. Like, I don't want them to be unhappy. You know, if they tell you they don't like something, you've got to listen.
Well, I listen, but I struggle. Well, where I push people, where I annoy people, is things like you can't put the TV 10 feet up in the air above the fire.
I agree with you. Well, that's just dumb. That's a hospital room.
I can't give in, you know?
Yeah, but that's a hospital room. That's a bad decision. That's not you know, that's not about, you know, style. That's just being wrong.
No, it's being wrong, but I'm very good at telling people that. And that's where I get really, when I think something's really wrong. Well, one thing I think is interesting, a lot of people, they hire you and they show you what they like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, maybe, I don't like modern things. And, you know, I'm traditional, okay? I'm traditional. I say, okay. But I'm thinking to myself, they're saying this today, but by the time this job is finished, they're going to have gone to their friends' houses and seen their friends have evolved, and they're going to look back at what I did and say, oh, my house is so old. So you have to push
You temper it, yeah. I feel that way, like with say a level 5 paint job in hardware. You know, when you first meet someone, and if they haven't decorated their house before, they have no idea, they don't care. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay that much for a doorknob. And then once you show them what a doorknob can be, you ruin them for life. Because now they will never look at a cheap doorknob again and be okay with it. You know, like the scales drop from your eyes and you're like, doorknobs. You know, a shit paint job, it's just the worst thing in the world. Well, they
don't see it in the beginning. It all looks the same.
No, because it's getting into, it's what you said about collecting. You know, you learn about it, and it becomes an intellectual thing. And
well, also you're right. It's the doorknob thing too. Is when you collect, you learn the difference between good, better, best.
Yeah.
You learn, and once you know that, you apply it to everything else you do.
Yeah.
But that's the best way to learn it, with collecting. Talk to experts.
I want to read something that you wrote in your questionnaire, if I can get it up real quick. We were asking you about your clothes and do they reflect you? And oh, by the way, Ambien, yes, is a sleeping pill, but sometimes you can take an Ambien and like terrible things ensue. I've had to stop taking it because I had a really crazy moment.
I'm scared to take it because of what I've read. That you can,